are there,
Yes.
it means some political serious differences, they are creating confusion and the serious problems. But we are talking about the takfir, which is aqidah and iman, so these are the political differences. Must be confined to the political arena and sphere. So this is another point. Yes, yes.
No, I just want to be very balanced here, because we said in these gatherings we are very open. Yoma tubla as-sarair. Yes. So I want to come from the Shia perspective here, yes, and be very open that within the Shia scholars and ulama, there is this trend that anybody who doesn't believe in Imam Ali and the children of Imam Ali has done kufr. But the difference between this kufr and takfir is that their blood does not become halal. Anybody who knows that Ali ibn Abi Talib was the best of persons is a kafir, according to the Shia scholars. I just want to be very open, and maybe the Shias can defend themselves here. They say that they are kafir. But the notion of takfir in the present day denotes that they have no hurma, they have no protection. So the Shia scholars will say, but no, we will do mu'amala with them, we will interact with them, we will pray with them, maybe pray Jama'ah properly, maybe just pray Jama'ah Suwari, whatever. But these are their notions. So I'm just saying whatever is happening on the Sunnah side is similarly happening on the Ahlul Shia side. The only difference is that on the Ahlul Sunnah side, the extremist factions have gone one step forward and made the dima of the Shia halal. That's not happened on the other side yet.
Right.
And God forbid it ever happens anywhere.
Who are they? They are Khawarij.
No.
Who say the
So it's good.
blood of Shia is lawful.
Yeah.
They are Khawarij.
So, what I'm saying
they
is,
are IS.
but what I'm saying is, my dear brother, how long does it take after saying somebody is kafir to make the next jump? It doesn't take too long. Both the sides. I'm just saying, both the sides. To be very fair, both the sides have this problem of kufr against each other.
You know, phrase among this Sunnah, nifaq duna nifaq, kufr duna kufr. That not every kufr makes a person infidel,
Yes.
out of the fold of Islam.
No, but I'm just saying both sides need to address this
So
problem.
one clarification, because the people at the moment, they believe the dam is halal, they are out of the circle clearly of Ahlul Sunnah, however they've been claiming.
Okay.
And today, not only all Ahlul Sunnah and Shias, all of them, they are united against these people
Right.
nowadays. Imam al-Haramain talking against them, similarly Imam in the talking against them.
Okay.
Because they are, particular people.
Okay, but my
We are not talking about
my only point was
they are
that
exempted from
my
all
only
this.
point was the Shias have the same problem in their thinking as the Sunni have. That's all.
Sheikh Abu Jafar. Sheikh Abu Jafar, just bear in your mind, this is a question to Ahlul Sunnah, not any clarification from Ahlul Shia. Your time is coming. There are questions to you.
What Sheikh was saying. I think Sheikh, as far as Shia is concerned, when they say that those who don't believe in wilayat of Ahlul Bayt are kuffar, they don't mean the kuffar that they are mukhallad fi nar at all.
I think you need to read our books again, my dear
Okay,
brother.
I'm going there. They speak about kufr ni'mah, because the practice in Iraq, in Bahrain, in Saudi Arabia, and all of those areas where Iran also, where Shias are, is that the Shias marry with a Sunni, and all Maraji say that it is halal to marry Sunni and Shia. They marry each other, they inherit each other.
Don't call them our brother, call them unfortunate.
Yeah, recently, like Sistani, he say call them our nas. So I don't believe that kufr here was kufr mukhallad fi nar or damu halal. It was kufr ni'mah, as it is in theology.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Second
This
thing,
is yes.
another factor that maybe contribute to takfir of the Shias, I think, is lies and fabrication. Because I study in the Ma'ahid al-Azhariyah. Sheikh, you can remember that there is a book called Al-Firaq Bain al-Firaq and Mudakarat al-Firaq. It is in Azhar University. So in this book, they say Shia divided into 33 sects. I do research, I couldn't find even 12. So if you can help me to get 33, it's going to be a miracle for me. So this is the first. Second thing, they speak about the relation between Shias and the Jews. But Shias' madhab is the only madhab that their imams, they do not pronounce, they do not declare the Jews who are around the Sahabas, like Kab al-Ahbar, Tamim al-Dari, and Abdullah bin Salam as thiqa. Imam Baqir alayhi salam, he said clearly, Ka'b was a liar, Tamim al-Dari was a liar, and all of these people who transmitted Israeliyat in the Islamic heritage, they are declared as liars in Shia school of thought. For example, Imam Baqir was asked about Ka'b, that he narrated such and such a hadith. He said he's the greatest liar in the face of the earth. So even Abdullah bin Saba, who is connected with the Shias, if you go to the riwayah of the Shias, Abdullah bin Saba, no riwayah can be found in Shia fiqh book or in Shia theological books from Abdullah bin Saba. So this is the thing that we need really to put the over. Yes, right interpretation.
There are, Brother Idris Sharif.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm conscious this is a sensitive topic, and I'm not a scholar. I am someone who works within the community. And during Ramadan, I had a very disturbing text and video sent to me from someone who I consider to be educated. He's a barrister. And the conversation was that I didn't actually watch the video, but from the tone I understood what it was going to be about. And the strapline was, and this was sent to a WhatsApp group to wider audience, and it said in there, watch only if you've got any doubt Shias are kafir. So I want to give a practical example of what people are saying. So I replied, without seeing it, I said, I'm surprised by the language you use and the fatwas you issue. And you cannot judge a people by the actions of a few. So without even seeing it, I just advised him, we are fasting, do not continue on this line. And he just went, for the next 5 minutes, he said, Uncle, after Eid, I'll borrow you some books I have, starting with Asul Kafi of Al-Kulaini. I apologize if I don't give the respect to the guy. The Shia equivalent of Sayyid Bukhari. Not a Shia in the world who doesn't rely on that book. So this is the language that's being used. And then he refers to Ayatollah Khomeini's Kashf al-Israr and Hukumat al-Islam. He carries on, and exactly as Mufti Sahab said, there are certain aspersions they make about Hazrat Aisha, and he says that there are other opinions. Bakir Ali Majlisi, he is like the Imam, and he says that they are hadith as well. So, and his strapline was, he said that some of us current Muslims have become way too relaxed on this issue. So this is coming back to the issue of the hatred towards, and then he was, he carries on, and from a personal point of view, I was shocked that someone who I perceived to be educated could show such hatred. And there's other things, but just a practical example. You said that what is the view from Ahl Sunnah? Well, this is someone who I consider to be quite educated, and to follow almost, just the, and I guess from my point of view, it's, I having listened and come from the beginning to these sections, I understand the difference between the different sects. That you cannot take one particular extremist sect's view and then apply it to the general view. So I just thought I'd share that as a practical example of, this is what people are saying on the ground, and we need to have a response to this.
But incidentally, within this side, we have similar WhatsApp forwards talking about the Ahlus Sunnah in this similar way. So you're right, there is a problem and we need to sort it out. And it's a problem on both sides, unfortunately.
It means none of the sides, depending on the articles of faith provided by the Quran, as we have discussed here, then passing on the fatwas. When you believe, for example, in the articles of faith, you are Muslims. Then with ta'wil, inferential way, that's the secondary. That's maybe iqtida'un nas, maybe dalalatun nas, not ibaratun nas necessary. We need ibaratun nas, not dalalatun nas and iqtida'un nas. Dalalatun nas, iqtida'un nas, that's a secondary position. Based on dalalatun nas, iqtida'un nas, isharatun nas, you cannot declare anyone as kafir except ibaratun nas, necessary. And necessary.
Parties in referring to what? To what happened between Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib and Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan. That both parties were on the right side. لماذا؟ لأن الحق واحد. He said, Ibn Taymiyyah, because الحق is one. وإن كان, even though المعتبر عند أهل السنة, what is considered between أهل السنة, أن نتجنب هذه الفتنة. تلك أمة كالخاصة. So Ibn Taymiyyah, you can, like if you read the text, he is clearly giving, he says that, okay, one party was on the wrong side, but we just try to avoid the fitna. And he said, لأن منهم المحسن ومنهم المسيء. He's referring to whom? To Sahaba. Who say Ibn Taymiyyah? Ibn Taymiyyah talking about Sahaba. No one would believe that he would say this. He said, لأن فيهم المحسن وفيهم المسيء. And even he further proves it with a verse from the Quran that says, وَنَتَجَاوَزُ عَنْ سَيِّئَاتِهِم. So it means they had sayyi'at, they had bad deeds. وَنَتَجَاوَزُ عَنْ سَيِّئَاتِهِم. So if we come to again the fabrication and the narration, there is no such a thing that أصحابي كالنجوم بأيديهم اقتديتم اهتديتم. Hadith is not acceptable by Ahl Sunnah in all its narration. The form that is very famous for Ibn Hazm, and even the other forms in Al-Bayhaqi and Al-Dayla and others from the people of Hadith. So that the foundation is gone that a person would use to support this. And the opinion of one of the prominent hardliners of the Ahl Sunnah when it comes to opinion of Shia is that he says that لا يجب. So in a way, if you are talking about articles of faith, then Imam Ibn Taymiyyah is saying that believing in the Sahaba is not one of the articles of faith. This is the opinion of the ulama. But again, a person will come to talk about Ibn Taymiyyah, and he hasn't read Majmu' al-Fatawa Ibn Taymiyyah, for example. The person who passed this video talking about Al-Kafi and Imam Khomeini, etc., etc., I mean, he would not know the Sunnah or the Fard of Wudu. This is the problem. It's just people are superficial in their knowledge. They just, okay, there is a list from the Shia side and a list from the Sunni side. A person reads the list and they talk about it. End of story. But has any of them read the actual, book from this side or from that side? No one would even put the effort to do that. So this is the problem that we are having. And I'm not exaggerating when we say ulama and shuyukh, these are countable. The word alim, it has been abused. Like anyone becomes a alim. Who gives the title? No one. So anyone can become a alim. You put a title who's going to alim, doctor, sheikh, sab, whatever, put before a person. It doesn't make him a alim. It doesn't make him a alim. The person will not know even the ahkam al-tahara, and he will be called the alim. You can.
Thank you, Sheikh Mufti Farooq Sahab.
मेरा ख्याल में शेख अहमद ने अच्छी बात कर दी है, तो मैं उनकी इस बात की तारीफ करता हूँ। और बस इजाफा ये है कि हदीस असहाबी का नजूम यकीनन ये ज़ईफ़ है और मतरूक है, और ये रिवायतन भी यानी गलत है और दिरायतन भी गलत है। इसलिए कि अगर हम देखें हमारे खुलाफा राशिदीन में पहले 3 खुलाफा जो हैं, आप उनका तरीक़ाकार देखें, तीनों में फ़र्क है। तीनों में बहुत सारे डिफरेंसेस हैं, और ख़ासकर हज़रत उस्मान के और शेखैन के मामला में। इसी तरह बाकी साहब तो दरायतन और रिवायतन दोनों तरीके से ये बात गलत है। असल में ये चीज़ मशहूर हो गई है वाइज़ीन की तरफ से। मसलन अली कारी मुहद्दिस जो हैं, अली कारी, वो मौज़ूआत कबीर में वो एक रिवायत लाए हैं कि अना मदीनतुल इल्म व अबू बकर असासुहा, अना मदीनतुल इल्म व उमर जिदारुहा, अना मदीनतुल इल्म व उस्मान सक़्फ़ुहा, अना मदीनतुल इल्म व अली बाबुहा। उसने कहा हाज़ा हदीसुन मौज़ूअन अला रसूलिल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम। ये हदीस मौज़ू है इस तरतीब से और इस तरीके से। लेकिन वाइजीन इसको मेंबर के ऊपर बयान करते हैं। बिल्कुल इसी तरीके से ये मतरूक की हद तक ज़ईफ़ है ये हदीस तसाबी का मजमून, लेकिन वाइजीन ने दौर हाजिर में इसको ज़्यादा मुश्किल कर दिया।
Maulana Sahib said he agrees with
Brother
Sheikh
Tanur, you are after
Sheikh Ayman.
Sheikh Ayaz.
Mufti Farooq Sahib said he agrees with Sheikh Ayman with the addition that the hadith Ashabi Kan-Nujum is not only weak and rejected on account of the weakness in the chain of reporters, but also in terms of the content, that the content of it does not make sense with the fact that the first three Khulafa were very different in their conduct and the way they themselves administered the state, and in fact if you were to follow one of them you would be going against the other one. So he's saying even according to the content it is not accurate. What's happened is that the orators upon the pulpits have popularized this narration, such as the narration that Ana Madinatul Ilm, Ali al-Babuha, Ana Madinatul Ilm, Uthman, Saqfuha, so on and so forth. It is mentioned by Ali Qari that this particular hadith itself is actually fabricated on the name of the Prophet in this particular sequence.
You know,
Thank you.
just one second. Question arises why the Wa'izin are putting overemphasis. Because there's other side. They are swearing and
It's a reaction.
yeah, it's reaction,
Yeah.
and they are putting out of
Yeah.
proportion.
The moderation is gone.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
So there's
Sheikh
action and
Muhammad
reaction is
Riyad.
going on.
From I think from Sunni perspective, it's not that they're saying the Sahabas are like Anbiya. They do make mistake. Quran has made mention many places where they made mistake. Quran has highlighted that particular area. They believe that Anbiya are the one who are without mistakes. They are Ma'asum and so forth. But Sahaba they can make mistake. Their perspective is that they are adul. They are just person. That's what from hadith perspective.
That was discussed last time.
Okay, but I want to come back to this hadith. That this hadith is absolutely accepted. It is daif, should not be mentioned also. But in another hadith, it says, "Alaykum bi sunnati wa sunnati khulafa rashid al-mahdiyyin. Addu alayha bin nawajid." This hadith is also, like I was reading from Albani perspective, he considered to be like Hasan, and some other scholars have considered to be Sahih from hadith. So it doesn't mention all the Sahaba, but it mentions the first four khulafa, in which emphasis has been made that you stick to them and adhere, and Addu bin Nawajid is you hold something very tightly from the those particular teeth which you hold something very tightly. So it's another hadith also as well.
Yes.
But it doesn't give general to Sahabas.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so now, Brother Tanur is there, but just for your information, last time this hadith was also mentioned, and from Ahl Sunnah ulama, their view was that Al-Khulafa al-Rashidin al-Mahdiyyin not confined within the 4 or 5 or 6. This is continued at every time. That's why when the Holy Prophet he issued Khulafa al-Rashidin, he never meant only 4. Because the 4 never appointed by the Prophet, it was by the community, as we know. Then Nabi al-Islam said in terms of the deen, in terms of taqwa, in terms of following there. That's another. Brother Tamur.
Right, a couple of points. Number one, the war which happened at the time of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam with the Muawiyah. The question is how many Muslims were killed during those battles? And you cannot say both of them were in the right position, and one was a little bit more right than the other one. So it's either right or wrong. That's one point. Number two, you mentioned about Ibn Taymiyyah. I'm not a scholar, but I studied a lot of ahadith from Ibn Taymiyyah, and I discovered that he is totally against Hazrat Ali. I could bring all the documents from his own book. That's but other the point which I'm making, that Ibn Taymiyyah, clearly we call it Nasibi, the people who did not love Ali and his household, the Prophet household. Okay, so the third thing, which is the very important part, is that political aspect. I sent a clip just recently from Saudi Arabia. Before we had Al-Azhar issuing fatwa, but now everybody in Saudi Arabia, they sleep in the night, the next morning they get up and they issue a fatwa. Go and kill those. That clip I sent to Sheikh Arif, it clearly said that all the Shia.
May I, brother, interrupt you here? What's your next point? Because your question can never be answered here, because this is out of the track. Because I'm very sorry. Please,
Okay.
with your due respect, this is my job. We are here today. We have to stick with the topic, and the topic is the articles of faith. In the light of the article of faith, there are takfir is going on. We have to solve the problem, because so far there is no such a forum sitting together from Shia ulama and the Sunni ulama, talking about the articles of faith, which making someone Muslim or non-Muslim by denial so far in the history. This is alhamdulillah.
Political beyond
Yes.
all these issues.
Your question, most of them have been answered, because when we talking about Khulafa al-Rashidin and the subsequent developments and Imama and the Isma and Sahaba in the perspective of Shias, Sahaba in perspective of Sunnis, all of these have been, we are repeating here. So I'm very sorry. Can never be. No one is position. No, Sheikh. I'm very sorry. Yes. Sheikh Ayaz. Now, any question now, we got only 5 minutes from Shia ulama to Sunni over this one. From Shia ulama to Sunni. First one is Sheikh Abu Jafar. Please not touching any political.
No. I just want to.
Because
Think about it.
Sunnis, many of them believe in the Shias kafirs regarding in the light of this. Any question?
What do you? My question is that the hadith that you have said just now, عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين من بعدي عضوا عليها بالنواجذ, also it is ضعيف, because if it is correct, then you are obliged to believe that those khulafa should be also have their level of isma. This is the first problem. Second problem, in that hadith, in that sanad, there is a man called Irbad bin Sariya. And all Sunni ulama, they have said that this person is da'if and matruk.
Yes, of course. आप हदीस सुन्नती और सुन्नत खुलफाए राशिदीन अलैकुम बिसुन्नती ये हदीस के अल्फाज हैं, लेकिन वो सुन्नत खुलफाए राशिदीन अल-महदीयीन अर्जुआ ये इजाफा है और ये बिल्कुल मकरूह है।
इसके कोई ऐसा सबूत आप अगर आपकी नज़र से गुजरा हो प्रैक्टिकली, फॉर एग्जांपल अबू हातिम अर-राज़ी ने अल-जरह व तादील में, या हाफिज़ अज़-ज़ाहबी ने मीज़ान उल-इत्तिदाल, या लिसान उल-मीज़ान में अल्लामा इब्न हजर समथिंग लाइक
इसके मैं बिल्कुल इसके सबूत दे दूंगा, लेकिन इस वक्त मेरे
इस वक्त
ज़हन में मुस्तहज़र नहीं है, लेकिन ये
because we are here, this is the that dialogue, academic dialogue, and this is very good. With respect, we have to accept. It should be given next time. Any question to Ahl Sunnah? Yes, Sheikh Mahmoud, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you to Dr. Khaled and to everybody for providing this very great constructive platform. And I think from having listened to what has been discussed, that the basic points were all agreed upon. That the Sunnis agree that these are the points that keep people within the folds of Islam, and so do the Shias. So just from a very practical aspect, what is it that, because this is an opportunity to ask our Sunni brothers, what is it that we can do to address this, for this discussion here to come out, to rebalance on one side, which we have these clips that are so spiteful, poisonous, that are creating such divisions within us. As one of the great leaders said, that while you are arguing about keeping your hands closed or down, the actual enemy is cutting your hands off. It's not about keeping the hands closed or down. The hands are actually being cut off. So put that to the side. What can we actually do from a practical point of view to maybe bring this thought out that the scholars seem to agree upon, that the theology of the Shia and of the Sunni in terms of what keeps them within Islam are very similar. In fact, they all agree. So this is my question to our scholars.
I think
Brother Amir, he is the principal of Al-Furqan School, mashallah, one of the prominent community leaders,
you
education.
raised the question, which was in my mind as well, but to answer that from a Sunni perspective and I'm sure from the Sunni, because there are very eminent scholars around the table. And to counter against the poison that's been distributed, as you cited an example, similar videos should be taken up by scholars around the table and distributed, because today is the era of social media, and these groups are set up, everybody sends messages, you get one message being sent from 10 different groups, and similar messages I've come across. I didn't read either, watch it. There are many messages which come which are not worth opening or worth reading, but sometimes when they get a positive message, I mean 99% of the times I receive messages, I don't forward them. Only when it's a sort of positive message, as a principle, I would forward it. But something like that, which comes out as you were saying, what is the solution? I think my humble suggestion would be that we produce short clips, like Sheikh Arif and Sheikh Ayman, for example, giving the perspective that you have highlighted this afternoon. And those are the positives that should be going out there, that this is what people are saying is false, because they're due to ignorance, lack of knowledge, and just brushing everybody with the same brush. As Sheikh Arif said, it happens on both sides, not just on one side. I think it's been acknowledged and happens on that side. I would respond to that as my suggestion.
I think the Quranic methodology is to come to the commonalities, even with Ahlul Kitab. So within Muslim community, that is only a matter of one, two groups. But if you watch a lot of Shia, sometimes I do, watch Shia channels, you will not feel comfortable in the Sunni. Somehow they will touch and they will have very disgraceful attitude towards Aisha or towards every time. And I think this negativity among the Shia scholars has poisoned the whole atmosphere. So what we need to rein in those channels as well. If you find Sunni channels, there's no I am not saying 100%, but there's no negativity going on as you will find. Just compare it, and you will find a lot of negative attitude towards on day and night on Shia channels.
I think we need to step away from this, because you see, it's just feeding into this. You did this, I did this. We need to step away and actually come out of this and actually look at it from above. How do we now come out of this? Shias are doing this, Sunnis are doing this. We need to come out of this. And that actually thought by the gentleman was actually a very nice thought. Maybe small clips can be made in which you might see a Sunni scholar together with a Shia scholar. Yes?
To solve the problem.
To at least address one issue. That according to our research and understanding, the articles of faith are the same for a Sunni and for the Shia. And they are both within the folds of Islam. And we need to just step out of this, otherwise it's just a perpetuating feeding into this.
I think the time for the first session is over. Question to Ahlul Sunnah, right? And obviously we have to conclude our program in time. Now this is the time to ask some important questions in the light of the same subject, the articles of faith, to Shia ulama. MashaAllah, Dr. Funai is here. And Dr. Funai, could you introduce yourself? Because unfortunately we haven't Sheikh Arif here. He disappeared from this part of the world at the moment. Very soon will be here with us. And
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ali Fanai, and I have done my study in religion in the seminary of Rome for about 17 years, and then I came to the UK to do PhD on moral philosophy. What I am trying to explain here.
Sorry, now answer the question.
Okay.
Answer the question. Just your introduction.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm trying to answer the same question, but I need to clarify some points.
Okay.
I'm talking here about the mainstream view of Shiite scholars. When they talk about the articles of faith, they were very careful to distinguish between usul al-din and usul al-mazhab. The articles of Islam and the articles of sect. What this distinction is so important, one of the consequences of this distinction is this. If you deny one of the articles of sect, you are no longer a member of that sect, but still you are, or you may be a member of another sect of Muslim community. But if you deny an article of Islam, you are no longer Muslim, no matter whether you were previously Shia or Sunni. So this distinction, I think, is very important to have in mind. So what we have in common with Sunni brothers are the articles of Islam, which are three: Tawheed, Ma'ad, and Nubuwwah. What we have in particular as the articles of sect are Imamate and Al-Adalah. This is the first point. The second point is that both Usul al-Islam and Usul al-Sect are subject to different interpretations. And this means that if someone denies one particular interpretation of one of those articles, it is not the same to deny the article itself. For example, if you deny a particular conception of God, you may still believe in God. No one can accuse you as denying the existence of God. And this is what actually happened in the history of Islam. One interesting, very interesting case is the criticism of Az-Zali to Ibn Sina. Az-Zali is one of the most famous theologians and scholars, Sunni scholars. He wrote a very, very famous book, Tahafut al-Philosopher, in which he accused philosophers, Muslim philosophers, Sunnis and Shiites. And in particular, Ibn Sina, he accused them that they actually are denying the articles of Islam. So he did takfir to them. He said they are kafir. But Ibn Sina was a Sunni scholar. He was not Shia. After that came another famous, very famous Sunni philosopher whose name is Ibn Rushd. He wrote another book. The name of that book is Tahafut al-Tahafut, in which he tried to explain that Az-Zali actually misunderstood philosophers. So the takfir of Az-Zali was based on his particular interpretation of the articles of faith. He accused Avicenna and other philosophers just based on his own understanding of the articles of faith. But in reality, what we have here is that Avicenna has a particular interpretation of the article of faith, which is different from the article of, which is different from the interpretation of Al-Ghazali. And no scholar can accuse another one because just having a different interpretation and different understanding that you are kafir and you are not Muslim anymore. The next point is that becoming disbeliever is something And accusing someone that you are a disbeliever is totally another thing. They are not the same. Someone may become disbeliever, but the question is whether I have a right, and if I have, when, and under what conditions I have that right to accuse him, to exclude him from being a Muslim. And I think this second question is very important, because the first question, the answer to the first question is totally up to God. God only knows that who is really a disbeliever or a real believer. But if we want to accuse someone of being a disbeliever, the only premise that can be used is his explicit and intentional denial of the article, one of the articles of Islam. If he openly and intentionally denies the existence of God, for example, we can say that, okay, you are not Muslim anymore, no matter whether he already was a Shia or Sunni. But if he said something about God that does not imply that he is denying the existence of God, the only thing that he is denying is a particular conception of God that we accept and he denies. So the denial of any interpretation, any conception of God is not equal to the denial of the existence of God. So based on these premises, I think there is no theological, neither legal foundation based on which we can say that Sunnis are disbelievers. We have no right to takfir to them. And if we want to say that someone is disbeliever, we have to justify or claim based on what I said, and in that regard there is no distinction between Shiite and Muslims.
Right, thank you very much. Actually, you have answered the question which was the similar and put to ulama Ahl Sunnah at the very beginning. Now there is very important questions, and I think the shuyukh from Shia ulama should share this question. It has some important parts. I request Sheikh Tajiri, Sheikh Abu Jafar, Sheikh Arif, and Sheikh Mahmoud as well,
and then we have
Sheikh Eric.
Ali
So could you introduce properly Sheikh Eric as well? I requested him, but he was actually hesitant.
Sheikh Eric Miernik is from Poland. He embraced Islam, graduated in Islamic Studies, and he's now currently serving the Polish community in a variety of ways, interpreting sort of primary texts for them. And from time to time, he leads Juma, and there's other community services, and he's also progressing with his postgraduate studies. And Sheikh Ali Hussein Datu, similarly, who I would like to invite to the front here, is a graduate of ICAS, and then subsequent to that of Iran, very much involved within the community, very well accepted, very packed schedule. Today he's taken his time out from a particular program and attend, and we are honored to have you here, and we wish to benefit from his deliberations and his thoughts as well. He's also running an IT company at the same time.
So we welcome you here, all new guests here. So now, there is a two requests, very important, my respected Shia ulama. The first one is, please, because not everyone is here scholar here. When you answer, your language must be simple according to the level of understanding, avoiding theological, rational things. Wise. The simple answer precises, and it should be precise. The first question, is going to be asked as usual from the stage, then from Ahl Sunnah ulama. But this question containing some important parts. Please write down, because this is quite lengthy here. Question is the one, but it needs some explanation.
And
The question is
Dr.
that-
Sahab, if you can also, before that, just inform us of the protocols of engagement here, that when the questions are asked, that we need to be brutally honest as to what the sect contains and not conceal anything,
Yeah.
just to say as it is.
Yes. And it must be, now clear.
Yeah.
And we need to listen on behalf of the mainstream. Whatever your reservation sometime, Sheikh Arif, is not counted here today. However, you can say something, but by stating that this is my own personal view.
Fine.
So here, the very important is the mainstream view here. The question is, just as we learned from the last time, and there was very important questions, the status of the imams versus the status of the prophets, exempting the status of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the final messenger. Because this is the question, as Ahl Sunnah, as it was appeared last time in the meeting, that was one of the views, exempting Ulul Azam Anbiya, the status of 12 imams. This is higher than the rest of Anbiya, exempting, Imamul Anbiya, Rahmatullah Alameen. Obviously, he is the higher. If this is the case, in response, you will have the time to clear this. How are the opinions about the status of the 12 imams versus the status of the old prophets? Why? What's the thing? But there are some important questions. First of all, the question is that if this is the case, they are equal or the higher. If they are the lower, there is no question. Then if they're equal or the higher, then the first part, the status of Anbiya has been clearly mentioned by the Quran with Nas Sarih. This is Ibaratun Nas, not Ibtida'un Nas, not Dalalatun Nas, not Isharatun Nas. This is Ibaratun Nas Sarih, their status, While the status of Imams, their position, there's inferential, not proved, as we already discussed, by Ibaratun Nas, Nas Sarih, from Quran, because the Quran is the foundation. And this is mentioned by ahadith, even if we agree with Hadith al-Ghadir in terms of the Imama of Imam Ali, all of us here, for the sake of argument, still this is inferential. Comparing to the nusus, so many uncountable verses from the Quran talking about the higher status of Anbiya, clearly. No, this is not the case. What's the point? It means that according to this Ibaratun Nas, the status of the Anbiya, this is higher than Imam. This is the point here. So you need to address the second point. Number 2, this is the first part of the question. Second part, when someone of us believe that the status of the Imams equal to the prophets or higher to the prophet, even exempted Imam Khatamun Nabiyyin, it does contradict the principle of Khatmun Nubuwwah or Khatamiyya, which is well understandable term in Shia theology. Khatmun Nubuwwah. Why is Khatmun Nubuwwah? As we know last time, when the great Mujtahid Sheikh Sayyid Ayatullah Muhaqqiq Damad, so I readdressed his his lecture. So he clearly says on behalf of the Shia mainstream on ulama, Ayatullah, that Khatamun Nabiyyin, Khatmun Nubuwwah, this is a crucial part of the faith of Shias as well. This is clear on the record. So when we believe that the what you call it, Imams, they are equal or higher than the prophets, it means Nubuwwah or something greater than Nubuwwah in a way, in a form, still continues. So this is contradicting Khatm Nubuwwah. This principle, which is accepted by Shias as well as principle, already contradicting. Please note it. Number 3, the whole of the Ummah, including Shias and Sunnah, all of them, this is consensus and ijma on the point that the all Anbiya, from Sayyidina Adam to Khatamun Nabiyyin, there is consensus, right? We agree with them. There is no ikhtilaf that Musa, Sayyidina Musa was not prophet, but Isa was prophet, or there was ikhtilaf about Sulaiman or Dawood, but ittifaq on, for example, Zakaria. No. From Adam to Khatamun Nabiyyin, there is ittifaq, consensus, no ikhtilaf among Shia Sunnis. But with regard to the Imams, even their ta'dad, their total number, their appointment, there are ikhtilafat, not between Sunnis and Shias, among Shias as well, right? And even till Imam Sajjad, Imam Zainul Abidin, so we can see, there is no ikhtilaf among Shias. And after that, you look at the position of Ismailis, believing Imam Ismail, not Imam Baqir, and Zaydis, Imam Zayd bin Ali, not Ja'far al-Sadiq, and so on. And Allama Nawbakhi, who was a great Shia scholar, I'm sorry because I couldn't, bring his book here. He produced a book, Nawbakhi. Yes. So he mentioned in details a lot of ikhtilaf. At the time of the Imam of, for example, when Imam Baqir was appointed, there were so many sects among Shias, different, and they followed other Imam. Even Muhammad bin Hanafiya, they also, however, it was not from the descendants of Sayyida Fatima Zahra Salam Alayhi. Even. So in the case of Anbiya, there is no ikhtilaf, consensus among Ummah. But in the case of Imams, there are ikhtilafat. Ikhtilafat means it weakens the case. It means Imams can never be equal to Anbiya, while the whole of them are believing. This is the point you need to address. There's another part, part number 4. This is the all Ummah, including the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, including 12 Imams. All of them are commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to follow and to believe in all previous prophets. Even Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been addressed, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ. Secondly, آمَنَ الرَّسُولُ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَكُتُبِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. So all Rasul, they are included. Imam al-Anbiya commanded here to believe in previous prophets, and he believed كُلٌّ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ, including all al-Mu'minun, all Sunnis, Shias, all of them. So it means that in the case of Imams, the Quran never commanded al-Mu'minun, the whole of the Ummah, to believe in Imams, including Imam al-Anbiya, Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. So there is a point. The point is that when the whole of the Ummah, including the Holy Prophet, the great Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, when they were commanded to believe in Imams, in Anbiya, not Imams, it means their position is the higher. It shows, according to this, the verse of the Quran. And then فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ وَلَا تَسْتَعْجِلْ. أُولُو الْعَزْمِ فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ. So they have been presented as an example, all previous prophets. But we don't find such a thing, statements from the Quran in the case of Imams, from Ahl Sunnah. The final part, this is the final one. Then, so you could answer. Hadith of the book have been agreed upon both Ahlul Sunnah Muhaddisun, Bukhari, Muslim, Muwatta, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, Tirmizi, all of them, and from Usul al-Kafi, At-Tahzib, Wala Yahduruhu al-Faqih, Alama al-Tusi, As-Saduq, Shaykh al-Qurani, all of them, Hadith of the book. Where Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he cleared that to Imam Ali, right, when he appointed as the leader of Medina on the expedition of Tabuk, Anta minni bi manzalati Harun. You are to me as Harun was to Musa alayhi salam, Moses, except that you are not the prophet. If Imam Ali, obviously he was Imamul A'immah. He was, the great Imam, compared to the rest of Imam. If Imamul A'immah, he was addressed by the Holy Prophet, that you are not the prophet, but you are the leader of, you are to me as Harun was to me. It means the prophethood was greater than Imamah. If not greater than Imam, then there was no need to say, to exempt the prophethood. Do you understand the point? There was no need to exempt the prophethood if Imam was equal or the higher. Because it was the higher, if it was equal or the lower, then there was no need. Then the words of the Holy Prophet ﷺ pointless. There is no point. I think this question containing some important, because from Ahlul Sunnah, these are the things they are very seriously discussed about it. So that's why I put on behalf of them this important question. Dr. Fanai, you one by one the points can address.
I would like to just mention a few points. The first one is what is the difference between these two concepts, the concept of prophethood and the concept of Imam? I think the relationship between these two concepts is that they are partially overlapped, meaning that some prophets were imams as well and vice versa. So it was and it is quite possible to have someone who is a prophet and an imam as well. And also it is possible to have a prophet who is not imam or an imam who is not a prophet. And one reason that can be mentioned to support this idea is that verse of the Quran in which God said addressing Ibrahim, we have with regard to Hazrat Ibrahim this verse, but not with regard to other prophets. And also in other verses of the Quran, for example, we have a dua, a prayer from mu'mineen, in which they say, وَجَعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. So, this is the relationship between these two concepts. The second point is that both prophethood and imamah, both of them are a matter of degree. Matter of degree. This means that some prophets were higher than the others, and some imams were higher than the others. And we have in one famous verse of the Quran, I can't remember, please help me, in which God says, تَلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضَهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. So the same is true, I think, with regard to imams. Every Shia believes that Imam Ali was higher than the other 12, 11 imams.
Parallel is not in the Quran.
Yeah, it is not. Yeah.
So, but Doctor,
Yeah.
I think as a starting point, I think we need to clarify amongst the Shia what is the understanding in relation to the Aimma.
Yeah.
Is there a belief across the board that the Aimma are greater than the prophets, Masiwa, Rasulullah? Or is it, I think maybe this categorization is much needed, and then we can pinpoint the area of contention and then start dealing with it.
Yeah. So, there is only, as far as I know, just one hadith in which is narrated by Shiite scholars from the Prophet ﷺ, in which the Prophet said, "Ulama ummati afzal min anbiya bani Israel." As you can see in this hadith, the Prophet, if it is true, the Prophet didn't say that ulama ummati afzal min al-anbiya, all of them, just min anbiya bani Israel. And who are anbiya bani Israel? We have two types. You know that we have many anbiya among bani Israel, and some of them was just the messenger of the major messenger. And it was not that all of them were directly received revelation from God. So, when it is said that ulama ummati afzal min anbiya bani Israel, it can be understood and interpreted in this way to say that, okay, ulama ummati are better than those anbiya, those who were the messenger of the messenger. And one evidence that can be put forward in this regard is just the hadith that is mentioned by Dr. Khaled, and تمني بمنزلة هارون إلا أنه لا نبي بعدي. In this hadith, the Prophet said, addressing Imam Ali, that your relationship to me, your status, to my status, is that you are just like Harun to Moses. And the only difference between you and Harun is that after you there is no prophet, meaning that you are not prophet, but you are in the same status as Harun. So if we believe that Harun has a higher status than some others Anbiya of Bani Israel, this hadith means that Imam Ali was better than those other Anbiya of Bani Israel. This is what I wanted to say.
But I think in terms of the categories, correct me if I'm wrong, there are a variety of interpretations of the statuses of Imam against the Prophet, in which the most extreme is that the Aima Itna Ashar are afdal than all the Anbiya ma siwa Muhammad Rasulullah, especially Imam Ali, and this is a hadith of Saduq in Hilal al-Shara and other places, and then that is extended, and whatever the justification is we can talk afterwards. The other opinion is that they are afdal from every Anbiya apart from Ulul Azam. The other one is that they are inferior to the Anbiya. And the other opinion is that they are ulama al-abrar. So we have four opinions.
Which one is the mainstream?
I don't know which one is the mainstream, because even today with people like Sayyid Fadlullah and others, we have that they don't follow the extreme. And the contemporary scholars as well, they do not subscribe to the extreme, and then we have scholars who subscribe to the extreme, that they are better than all the Anbiya ma siwa Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then we can go into the debate. So now the problem comes in, Dr. Khalid, as you were saying, in terms of the claim that any of the Imam, whether it's Ali ibn Abi Talib salamullah alayhi, or anybody after him, being better than any of the Nabi, whether it is less than Ulul Azam or whether it is Ulul Azam itself, the problem still comes in. So the problems that you're pointing out